back music.
I apologize, I don't recollect your name.
Oh baby, I don't know your name.
Let me tell you that them heels really compliment your frame.
Look at your body, baby.
Ooh, and I gotta catch my plane. You say you miss me and you're wishing for some private time. Girl, how could we get that way? Girl, how could we get that way?
Look, another day, another dollar. She hate me when I leave, cause when I leave I never call her. That's slight shit, ice shit. I could call you right quick, but if I call you gon' be like, boo, why we haven't Skyped yet? And a Skype bet you say, lay where my flight at. If I decline, then you inquire on where I spend my nights at. Shit, this life gets overwhelming and more than hectic. But a woman worth some anger is certainly worth some effort. Just look closer, my life is quite deceptive. Women will sell they soul just to buy some attention. I need something to hold, fuck that passive aggression. And when I'm back from off that road, don't ask me no questions, please. Fear what you don't know.
I apologize, I don't recollect your name.
Oh baby, I don't know your name.
Let me tell you that them heels really compliment your frame.
Look at your body, baby.
Ooh, and I gotta catch my plane. You say you miss me and you're wishing for some private time. Girl, how can we get that way?
Don't remember how I met her, but I know I won't forget her. And if loving her is wrong, then I just know I won't see heaven. She say she from Seattle, she 20 and some change. And before I get to TIA, I'm sure to make her rain. Then I back up on my plane, Chi-Town, no hit. We spent some time and get some wine, have some miles from Harold's. I told her this is overrated, but I love your city, baby. Gotta get back to the D. You know we finally famous. Driver drop me off at Dallas, I'm headed to some money. TSA be laughing, all the rubbers in your luggage. I know I'ma always leave them, but I swear I always love them. Tell her you'll probably find someone, but you'll never find another. Parlay.
I apologize, I don't recollect your name.
Oh baby, I don't know your name.
Let me tell you that them heels really compliment your frame.
Look at your body, baby.
Ooh, and I gotta catch my plane. You say you miss me and you're wishing for some private time. Girl, how could we get that way? Girl, how could we get that way?
Yo, what's up everybody? This is another episode of the Friday Fish Fry. I am your gracious host, Timonious, serving you motherfuckers up with another flavorful filet. Yeah, I'm back up in this bitch again, ready to talk about the issues that's going on in the world today. Like I said, this is the Friday Fish Fry podcast. If you're listening to this show for the first time from somewhere other than the site, and you wish to follow the show, visit the FridayFishFry.com. That's spelled THA, FridayFishFry.com. If you have any opinions or any of the topics that I've discussed thus far, please feel free to hit me up at thafridayfishfry@gmail.com or leave a comment on the actual site. Now, with all the preliminaries out of the way, let's go ahead and get into the show. So, I always like to start off my shows with a question. And the reason why I like to do that is because, to me, questions are the best way to start a good conversation, you know. And that's what I like to do with this show. I like to have sort of a semi-conversation with the public, even though you guys don't get to respond back until after I say what I have to say. But I like to make it at that approach because it really gets people talking, and that's the purpose of the show, really. It's just to be able to express my opinions and not only have my opinions out there, but also to hear what other people have to say about different issues and topics. So, this show, I'm going to go ahead and start with a question. And the question that I would like to pose to the public is, so if, you know, everybody knows that this whole situation, the thing that's floating in the news now, the major focus that this country is having on is the Zimmerman case, the Zimmerman trial. You know, for those who do not know, George Zimmerman is a neighborhood watchman who basically followed a young African American man, who was a young African American boy, I should say. He was only like 17 years old. And he was on his way back home from the store, and he wanted to, get back home, and he was out caught in the rain and whatnot. And George Zimmerman, he was a neighborhood watchman, like I said, saw him and thought that he was in fact a criminal trying to break into the neighborhood or whatever. So he called the police, and after calling the police told him to stand down, wait till they got there, give him location where he's at so they can meet up with him when they come out there. But he decided that he needed to follow this guy to try to see what he was going to do. And I guess, I don't know, some part of him felt that he was going to make some type of citizen's arrest and be a hero. But in the end, it just really got really bad for Trayvon Martin, because, he felt threatened, and it turned into a fight. The confrontation turned into a fight. And unfortunately, brother Trayvon lost his life. So right now the trial is ongoing. As far as I know at this current time while I'm recording, the verdict has not been put out. I know the jury has went into court and began deliberating. And as far as I know right now, they're continuing deliberation. But going back to my question, the question I would like to pose to the public is that if for some chance, for some reason, if George Zimmerman, and it's quite possible, a lot of people are saying this, if George Zimmerman by some chance becomes acquitted, do you think that black people should riot? Do you think that the reasonable response to his acquittance is that black people should take to the streets and riot? Now, the reason why I ask this question is because there's been a lot of talk in the media and amongst the people about what would happen if Zimmerman gets acquitted. And I've heard from news sources that a lot of major cities have already prepared for a riot, including the city that I live in, Atlanta. I also heard, from different black people that discussed the trial and the issue and whatnot. And they themselves, black people ourselves, we do think that there's a possibility that Zimmerman may get off. And I've heard conversations, even from people within my own family, that say that, that there's going to be a riot, or they think that a riot is going to occur. And, just from the tone of the conversation that I have with other black people about this issue, they seem to not necessarily discourage it, but they would think that it would be justified and that, it would be a reasonable response. But what I want to know from you guys that are listening to the show is whether you think that black people should riot if Zimmerman gets acquitted. Now, of course, as of right now, I'm doing the show without knowing the verdict because it's not revealed yet while I'm recording the show. But what I want to do is I want to get my opinion first on what I think will happen with the verdict. Now, me personally, I've heard different sides. People say, oh, no, he's going to get sentenced. He can't get off scot-free for doing what he did. And then there's some people that say, nah, man, I don't think that the outcome is going to be good for us because the defense team hasn't really, brought it home as far as the prosecution didn't really bring it home to the jury as to, what actually went on. And they didn't necessarily prove their case that Zimmerman was in fact, looking for trouble, that he pursued this young man with the intention of harming him. But the thing is, I believe that he's not going to get off. I don't think he's going to get second-degree murder. And it's just based upon what little bit of information that I've seen in the court and how both sides have been approaching the situation. But I don't think that the actual case has been so bad that it's completely in favor of Zimmerman. I know there's some people who think that it is, but I just don't think that that's from what I've seen. And I haven't seen every little waking moment in the court of what's happened, but I have seen little bits and pieces of the trial. You know, I saw the examiner, I saw Rachel Gentile, she gave her testimony. I mean, I saw some, if not most of the actual trial, but I don't think that he's going to be committed with second degree. He may get a lesser sentence, possibly, I don't know, third degree manslaughter, maybe. Matter of fact, I think they're even discussing about the possibility of him getting a lesser sentence and whatnot. But I don't think that the actual case is basically shut and closed and going to Zimmerman's favor. But honestly, my opinion is that a lot of times when these issues like this happen, the media, they like to start putting people into an analytical mode. You know, they always ask questions like, what was he thinking? What was Trayvon wearing? What was his past like? Did he do any drugs? Stuff, real irrelevant shit that to me has nothing to do with the case nor the outcome of that night. And to me, the bottom line is still the same. Zimmerman stepped out of his role as a neighborhood watchman, and that he thought he was a fucking RoboCop, basically, and tracked him down. And what he thought, a person that he thought was a criminal, which turned out to be a young man going back home from the corner store. Bottom line, all this other psychoanalytical, can't talk. All this other psychoanalytical bullshit, it doesn't mean anything. And sometimes people like to confuse the opposing view by throwing too many details into the case, a whole bunch of unknowns and possibilities. And that's exactly what I see in the defense, what they built their case on. And as I've said, you know, the prosecution, I've said this before, I don't think the prosecution did a terrible job, but I think they could have done a more better, you know, they could have did a lot better than what they did. And the reason why I say that is because I think some of their strengths on their side was trying to tie it into racism. You know, I think that they were more or less trying to paint Zimmerman as a racist, which he may very well be. I'm not saying that he isn't, but when you're in a situation like that and the evidence points so much in your favor, it's really no need to try to go the emotional route. And I think that's the approach that they try to make. They try to make it more about race than the actual common sense. You know what I'm saying? And the thing is, the common sense is that this young man lost his life because somebody decided that they were going to do something that they were not trained to do. And that's basically the bottom line. And as soon as you bring race into the case, people start taking sides based upon their own complexion and not what is known. But, you know, I'm going off into a tangent. I'm get back to what I'm saying. I don't think he will get second degree, but I think he may get manslaughter or something lesser to a certain degree. I don't believe that this dude is going to walk away scot-free with nothing. It's too many eyes watching this case for them to do that. Even if the jury acquits him, I think that, you know, the judge can actually come back and overrule with what the jury decides, if I'm not mistaken. So this issue has become more of a political issue than any issue for justice. And I think that the decision and precedence is too high to leave it up to just 6 people. But, you know, I could be wrong. And if I'm wrong and Zimmerman walks back to the main topic, what should black people do? I know a lot of people who may listen to this show right now will disagree with what I'm about to say, but I don't think black people should riot, in my opinion. Now, just because I say that black people shouldn't riot, it doesn't mean to say that I don't believe that black people should not have the right to be angry and express their anger. I definitely feel that we as a people have every right to be angry if the verdict should turn that way. But the reason that I say this is because the trial is more than just a trial. This is This is a representation of many unanswered cases of justice in which young black men have been falsely profiled for their skin color and lost their lives, you know, whether it was they lost their lives through jail time or they lost their lives through death. And now I'm not saying that we should take away from the pain and suffering that has been felt by the Martin family by making this about us as a whole. But what you have to understand is that as a community, we really are a family. Like I've said this before in previous episodes, I tend to look at the black community not as necessarily as a community, but as a family. And what you do to one of my brothers, you also do it to me. This is not an issue that began that night. This is not an issue that began in 2011 or as of recently. This is an issue that has been going on with our people for hundreds of years. Thousands of cases over the span of decades where young black men being killed by crooked police officers, security guards, and now neighborhood watchmen. And the thing that really frustrates me is that some white people, not all, but some white people, they actually have the nerve and turn to look to my people and ask, what's the problem? I'm like, are you fucking serious? You know, they're expecting us to stay calm and not have anything to say about this case if it turns out that, you know, they acquit him. I mean, who the fuck would think that this would be okay? Like, this just, it's crazy. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, they so quick to look at black men as some type of cartoon villain. These people are not villains. These people are cousins, uncles, brothers. And in cases with women, these are wives and daughters and so on. And, you know, as a black man myself, I think I feel that I deserve the right to feel safe in the country that I live in, the country that I pay taxes in, just as much as you do. And if you believe that it's okay to let this unlawful, cowardly man walk free after killing somebody in my family, that I should still feel safe, I mean, really, what stops the same thing from happening to me? You know, I mean, sometimes even when I think about this whole case, you know, I think about, you know, how something like this could go down in my life, you know, like, you know, for instance, you know, every day I get up and I go to work, and I work very early in the morning time. And usually when I go to work, it's in an office building that's empty for the most part. And my office is kind of, without giving away my location of where I work at, but the office building is kind of nestled right in between like expensive townhomes and stuff. And, you know, like most office buildings, they have alarm systems that get set at every night at the same time. And sometimes people trip the alarm, whether it's maintenance workers or someone who is new to the company that don't know about the time frames in which the alarm goes off or how to disalarm the alarm or whatever. But for the most part, you know, most people know the time frame, but there are certain instances in which I have gotten to work and the alarm has been, you know, going off or whatever for whatever reason. And, you know, situations like this would be a prime example or opportunity for me to be put into the same situation as Trayvon Martin. You know, here you have these houses that are near this building in which they hear an alarm going off. And so quite easily someone could go out, try to investigate. They see me walking around in the rain with a hoodie on, trying to go to work. You know, that, I mean, it could very easily have gotten ugly for me. And I would want to at least believe that there would be some type of justice if, for God forbid, if I lost my life. And the thing is, not all white people, but a lot of white people, they don't think about it in those terms. They they just think that, oh, this is just some guy that, you know, was up to no good and he was looking suspicious. So, you know, it would only make sense for him to want to try to follow him and try to subdue him in some type of way, you know, and it's just not the case. This guy was a good person, you know, from all the testimony that's been given about this man. Not one person has been able to say anything negative about his character. I mean, they tried to put away his character, downplay his character by saying, oh, he smoked weed or he had marijuana in his system or whatever. Hell, everybody's tried to smoke weed at one point in time in their life. I mean, me, I haven't, but most people that I know who, you know, are business owners, CEOs, they, you know, make $100,000 a year. At some point in time when they were younger, they tried to smoke weed or whatever, but that doesn't mean that they were nobodies, that they deserve to be shot down in the rain, you know? And, you know, but basically what I'm saying is that, you know, this is not just an individual case. This is not just an individual issue. This is just an issue for all of our community. And for those who are listening that are not black, who don't understand why there's so much uproar from the black community about this case and why we're following it so close, this is the reason why. And, you know, going back to the main topic again, I'm trying not to get too far off into too much detail about the case or whatever, but, you know, so yeah, that's basically how I feel about this situation. But for some people that I know who are listening to this and say, well, okay, well, if you're thinking about this and you feel that way, then why would you say that we shouldn't riot? Why would you say that we shouldn't take to the streets and cause a ruckus or whatever? But the reason why I say this is because there's really no power in rioting. When you think about it, there really is no sense of influence or strength in rioting. And the reason why I say this is because for instance, a lot of black people in this country, we have the false belief that we have a certain power in this country that we don't. And the power that we think we get is given to us by a mirage that the country has presented to us. We see celebrities, you know, like Paula Deen, Don Imus, and so on. They go on and start talking about black people using the N-word, and then visually, you know, we follow it, try to see what happens. We demand that their jobs be taken away from them, and a lot of times they are. But in the end, they eventually get some type of job or compensation for their loss in the end that we don't really know anything about because it's not publicized. So there really isn't too much power with just speaking loud. There isn't any power with taking to the streets and throwing a brick in the window. There isn't any power with that. And if you have power, and some people think that we do have power and influence in this country, then why is it that over 90% of our people in prison, 90% of the people in prison are people of our own kind? If we have this power, we still have the highest percentage of unemployment, but we still think that we have power. We think that having a black president has somehow given us some type of influence or power in this country. And we're still in the same position that we were when Obama wasn't in office. So the reason to me that we don't have any influence in this country or any power is because we rely on two different things to get our agenda across, to get our message across. And the things that we rely on that I see the most is the Bible and white guilt. And both of these things, basically, they put us in a position in which we have to rely on the white counterpart to listen to that sense of morale. But what you got to understand is morale is just really relative. There isn't anything finite to right or wrong. There isn't anything that you can use as a means to quantify what is good and what is bad, what is right and wrong. Right and wrong is relative to the person who's deciding what is right and wrong. If it's in favor of a greater majority or a certain group of people, then it's right. If it's not in favor to a certain group of people or a majority, then we as society deem that is wrong. And so we try to reason with the opposing force, but in this country, morale it takes a back seat. There really isn't a respect for righteousness and justice in this country. And so with that being said, if we did riot, then what would that really do for us? I mean, what did rioting do with us with Rodney King? We still got killed by the thousands every year with no justice. Our children are still in more danger now than it was in the 90s. And to me, when you say that, okay, we need to riot, that to me is an impulsive reaction. And we need to stop being so impulsive when situations like this happen, because impulse doesn't bear any fruit. We need to be more strategic with how we handle these situations, and also how we protect ourselves and our interests, because every race in this country has their own self-interest. And you don't get your interests met in this country by just brute force. And I think that that's what a lot of black people think. They think that we can just brute force our way into letting our interests and our issues be heard in this country. And it's just not, it doesn't work like that. And the reason why our interest is not being considered at all in this country is because we're basically at the bottom of the totem pole financially. I mean, with us not having any financial influence in this country, it doesn't really grant us the defense that we need to protect our interests and protect our people. And I know a lot of black people, they think, oh, well, shit, I don't have to have money in order to get justice in this country. That's fairy tale bullshit. You know what I'm saying? That's that nigga that thinks that the Constitution really means something. You bought into that fucking Constitution bullshit that they taught you when you were in school, that all men are created equal and all should get justice and all this other stuff. I don't pay attention to none of that shit. I don't pay attention to any of that shit, because I realize what really the Constitution really is. It's really a Swiss Army knife for white people. It's a tool that white people can use whenever they need an agenda or something pushed on. If they have an agenda or a job that they want to accomplish, a lot of times they'll pull out the Constitution and say, oh, we should be able to do this. We should be able to have the right to bear arms. We should have the right to do this because the Constitution says so. They use that in their defense. But there's really the Constitution really doesn't represent anything in this country. And I know a lot of people, when they listen to this, they think that that's blasphemy, but it's the truth. It's just words that we supposed to live by. This country has a history of writing down one thing and then behaving a different way. The words and laws don't mean anything if they're not carried out. And what makes the laws that we write down carry out, what enforces them, is the financial influence that person has in this country. A poor man will not get the same amount of justice as somebody who has money in this country. And it's just bottom line fact. And it shouldn't be this way. I agree. And I'm not saying it's right that it's this way. But when you're in a situation like this and you constantly find your people in a certain light being, mistreated and taken for granted and abused and killed, you have to reassess your positioning. You have to reassess your approach to dealing with these issues, because if not, you'll just continue finding yourself being in the same situation that we're constantly being in. And I know that some black people may say, well, how are we going to gain power with money when we ain't got none? Then I say, you need to fucking turn off the news, because the news ain't nothing but propaganda and gossip. And the reason why I say turn off the news is because the news has black people thinking that we're poor. The news and the television, the media, have you thinking in a poor mentality. Black people are not poor. We're not a poor people. We are people who mismanage our money, but we aren't poor people. There's money in the hood and projects. There's money in our community. But the thing is, it goes to the wrong places. And a lot of times, black people don't really understand how money works, how the economy works. You have to think of the economy like a river. You know, and if it's a river and if it's flowing in different directions, do you really believe that the people at the top will want to build a dam to stop the money flowing into your community? Hell no, because that money is that they're expecting that money to come back to them tenfold. I give you $5, and then by the time you get the $5, you'll turn around and give me 15 because I'll hike up whatever I'm selling to you. So the money is there, but we just don't know how to manage it. And the thing is, we spend money more than any other race of people that's in this country. And the thing is, we give money to everybody except ourselves. And then when we decide to actually give money to each other, it's always to mega churches that don't give a damn about our people. They ain't trying to help us out. Strip clubs, and whatever illegal activity that can be done in the projects. That's where the money goes, but it shouldn't. We should focus our attention on bettering our education, our community, rebuilding the structure of our community, and practice group economics. Our money should not leave our community until it has circulated our community at least 5 times. And once we keep that circulation going, it builds the strength of our community. But as soon as we get $1, we send it out of our community to another area that doesn't benefit or profit us in any type of way. And the thing is that we as black people, we got to stop being waiters and start being takers. And I know so many people, they think that this doesn't have anything to do with the trial, but it does. Your first line of defense with people of other race is self-respect. You know what I mean? If you think about it, like you think about our community as a body and as a people, then a body of people, then self-respect is our skin. And if our skin can be compromised, then so our health. And that's why we keep falling by the wayside with incidents like this, because of the lack of financial growth that we have in our community. And that reflects the lack of self-respect that we have for each other. And, you know, taking the analogy a little bit further, if all people that don't know you judge you based upon how you look on the outside, you know, if, for instance, if I walk around with a nasty and filthy ass face, now obviously when people look at me, they're gonna say, damn, this nigga got low self-esteem. This dude don't give a damn about himself. And that's how we come off to other people or races. And the thing is, I know a lot of people say, well, we don't give a damn what the other race of people should think about us. That should even be something that register in our mind. Well, fuck, nigga, you don't live on a goddamn island. You know, you got to be realistic. You don't live on a fucking island. You can't get yourself established in this country just solely based on communicating and connecting with your own kind. These things that we do amongst ourselves affect how we are able to interact with people of other races. And when we go out and start destroying and rioting shit that's within the reach of our community, that's the message that we send, that we don't give a damn about ourselves. We don't give a damn about our community or the area in which we live in. Because truth be told, when black people riot, they don't go out into these, you know, bougie communities or houses and stuff like that. They don't go out to the top 1% community to destroy their area or where they live. They're not going to go to George Zimmerman's community and destroy the way he lives. They're not going to do that. They're going to pick up a brick outside of their own house and throw it at something that's close by. And it's like, what good did that do for you? What good would it do for you to burn down the store you go get groceries at? You think you hurting the damn store owner, but the people that own the store have insurance to fix the shit that you fucked up. And then when they do fix it, they turn around and pay their own kind to do it, to keep the money circulating in their pockets. So what good did it do for you to throw a brick in the window? And go a little bit further, and to be honest, truth be told, all this shit talking about rioting, the only people that will riot are dusty ass niggas. A nigga that's got a 9-to-5 job will not be out in the middle of the streets looting and burning cars. It's not gonna happen. So even those people who have a decent job, they're not the ones that's trying to encourage rioting. They know they're not going out in the middle of the street doing that shit. They're gonna be at home watching that shit on television, just like white people, and then want to take credit for what's going on in the middle of the streets. Black people, we gotta stop using dusty niggas like pit bulls. You know, it's like, oh, we didn't get the verdict that we want. Let's go sick this dusty niggas out on them. You know what I'm saying? I mean, what good does it do for us? It doesn't do anything for us. And that dusty nigga that's out in the middle of the street, he don't give a damn about Trayvon. He don't. He say he do. When he on camera, I'm doing this shit for Trayvon. Throw this brick at Best Buy. I'm doing this for Trayvon. And then go in and get a PS3. What the fuck is a PS3 got to do with his death? But, you know, I pretty much said what I need to say about this topic. But that's my take on it. Y'all write in and tell me what you think. I'll make sure that, you know, if you decide to write in, I'll read your comment on the next show. But yeah, man, that's pretty much today's show. Like I said, this is the Friday Fish Fry. Continue supporting your boy by tuning in through iTunes and follow me on YouTube and etc. And I will holler at you motherfuckers later. Peace.
Yeah. All I'm asking for is just a little bit. Baby, won't you come and show me what you do with it? Cause I can't find no words to say. And all I know is that I wanna give it to you in the worst way. The way you make it bounce back. Ooh, girl, keep doing it like that. Looking at me like your bedroom mirror. Oh, you're so serious. All I need is her smile. She said I'm so crazy. Ooh, I think she like me. Yeah, and that's when I told her, I know you're glad that I came up in this thing. And mama, you already know it. Just because you said that you're home, girl, leaving, you don't need a shot of where you're going. I gotta speed up in the seasons, please believe it, that'll be later. So what you doing for it? Cause I was thinking maybe we can play a little. I sit back and chill while you do the damn thing on me. The signs that you're giving is why I'm so persistent with your mama. I'm trying to keep my composure contained and stay sane, cause it's building up. I've been dancing on the floor with her all night to see if she'll show me what it's been like. If only I could just get her to do it for me. She don't even know. All I need is her smile. She said I'm so crazy. Ooh, I think she like me. Yeah, and that's when I told her, I know you're glad that I came up in this thing. And mama, you already know it. Just because you said that you're home, girl, leaving, you don't need a shot of where you going. I gotta speed up in the seasons, please believe that'll be later. So what you doing for it? Cause I was thinking maybe we can play a little. I sit back and chill while you do the damn thing on me. Hey girl,
What you doing? What you doing? Come here, let me talk to you for a second. Look. Hey girl, this how I'm feeling about you. It's something real about you that's got me realizing that I can't live without you. Whenever the fellas around, I get to bragging on you, cause you be holding me down unlike no other woman. And I'm so glad that I'm the lucky man that found you. So Cupid led me to you, to take my time and do you. So girl, I'm asking, do you wanna try and maneuver your way about at this club? So it's just me and you, girl, you girl. I know you're glad that I came up in this thing, but mama, you already know it. Just because you said that you're home, girl, leaving, you don't need a shot of where you going. I gotta speed up in the scissors, please believe it, that'll be later. So what you doing for it? Cause I was thinking maybe we can play a little. I sit back and chill while you do the